Welcome back. Thank you for staying with Republic TV. Now, a day before the WHO Annual Assembly, Republic has now accessed the WHO agenda. World Health Assembly decides WHO programs and budgets. WHO also elects the governing body and sets who targets, elects a governing body. The Assembly to consider the resolution of about 65 member nations, China to be held accountable. WHO Chief Dr. Tedros' performance also likely to be reviewed. Resolution in all likelihood would be asking for an investigation to find corona came and from where and how. Resolution also indicates that the review of WHO actions during the corona outbreak. India is a party to the resolution that has been proposed. Getting us all the details is our executive editor, Abhishek Kapoor. Abhishek, if I may come. Our executive editor would be joining in a short while from now, but these are the details that we are basically picking up right now. This is a Republic exclusive where WHO's agenda has accessed. Let me also go across to our editor, Niranjan Narayan-Swamy, for the latest. Niranjan, with regards to essentially the role played by China and more importantly, even Dr. Tedros' entire role during this pandemic has basically come under the scrutiny, be it the United States raising questions about the way WHO has essentially functioned. What perhaps is expected when the Assembly actually convenes?
Big exclusive that Abhishek Kapoor, our executive editor, has accessed. In fact, he's also joining us live. In fact, let me get him in as we give you the breakdown, the details. I just want to highlight two important points and I'm handing it over to Abhishek. This is massive. The fact that China will be held to account and the World Health Assembly or the WHO decides the World Health Organization programs and budgets and has also decided to review the performance of the World Health Organization Chief Tedros. Abhishek, this is massive. India is also a proposer to this. I think this is exactly what member nations have been asking for all these months.
This is huge. Niranjan, this is huge for geopolitics. Despite the fact that the Chinese were trying to put pressure on every nation that they have relationship with, that this does not happen. The world is now asking for an investigation as to the origins of the coronavirus. The Chinese have denied that it happened in Wuhan. They have been making allusions that whether there was some American conspiracy to get it planted there. They have denied that it happened in wet markets, all sorts of stories. And now there is the agenda of WHO, which is to happen tomorrow. And this agenda is to be picked up, this proposal or the resolution is to be picked up, which is important on two counts. I fished out those two very important points. A, that the world needs to identify the zoonotic sources of the virus and the route of introduction to the human population, which means where it originated, whether it was in some animals, and then how it came into humans, including the possible role of intermediate hosts, including through efforts such as scientific and collaborative field missions, which means a proper scientific investigation would be launched under the aegis of the WHO. And that is not the end. The fact that there was an allusion made that WHO soft-pedaled on coronavirus under pressure from China because of the special relationship that the WHO Chief Tedros had with China. Another point of the resolution puts the leadership of Tedros also under question mark, because that point says that the world should, the WHO should review the actions of itself, as in WHO, and their timelines pertaining to COVID-19 pandemic and make recommendations to improve global pandemic prevention, preparedness and response capacity. Essentially putting a question mark on the WHO response itself when it comes to corona pandemic. So these are very two important points in the WHO agenda and the resolution that 65 countries, including India, have sponsored that would be taken up tomorrow, Niranjan.
Abhishek, with regards to India being part of this resolution also, what we've been picking up all this while, that India too has taken a stringent position as far as what perhaps the country wants in terms of the final outcome. Where exactly is India's position stands at this point in time?
Well, Shravan, it's not about India. India obviously is part of the this group of nations that is sponsoring this resolution, which would be taken up by the World Health Assembly tomorrow and day after. But what is important is India is one among the many nations around the world. Everyone is suffering because the virus originated in China, and China has been denying it. Not only denying it, they have been obfuscating. They have been putting pressure on countries that want investigation, and WHO has played ball with them. And that is why this resolution becomes very important, because it not only wants to investigate as to from where this virus came and to zero down on that specific point, but also wants to investigate the role of WHO itself in terms of the timelines, when it declared it an area of concern, when it declared it an endemic, when it declared it a pandemic, so that we know exactly whether there was some kind of collusion, and if not collusion, some kind of soft peddling by the WHO in terms of the spread of virus, which has played such a havoc with every nation almost in the world. So India, of course, is important in terms of the weight it is lending to this resolution. Also, Shravan, it's important because India most likely is going to take over the leadership of WHO in some form if it happens over the next 2 days of the World Health Assembly. But for me, as of now, the big breaking development is this resolution, which includes investigation against China, against, one would say, against the wishes of China in terms of the bullying that it was doing to Australia, to US, to every other country that wanted the role of China to be investigated.
Well, thank you very much, Abhishek, for getting us this exclusive, the WHO agenda accessed by Republic TV. Undoubtedly extremely important, given the fact that finally nations coming together demanding accountability, who essentially is responsible.